Federal Reserve is rapidly raising interest rates because they're trying to prevent a full-on recession. When Scott Pelley asked Joe Biden the other day about that, he asked him, how are you going to combat the ramifications of those interest rates being increased so rapidly? Because they're going up very fast, faster than I've ever seen them. I don't know if it's the fastest, but as long as I've been paying attention, I've never seen the Feds do this. So Biden's answer to that is lowering prescription costs. And then he starts talking about the manufacturing jobs that he's brought back to Americans. And he's just saying things that don't add up. They don't make sense, and they don't address the question that was asked. Because he said that he's increasing the economy, and he's been increasing the economy, but the economy is not doing well, and we're at 40-year record inflation.
We're taking forceful and rapid steps to moderate demand so that it comes into better alignment with supply. Our overarching focus is using our tools to bring inflation back down to our 2% goal and to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Reducing inflation is likely to require a sustained period of below-trend growth, and there will very likely be some softening of labor market conditions. Restoring price stability is essential to set the stage for achieving maximum employment and stable prices over the longer run. We will keep at it until we're confident the job is done.
So either he's lying or he just does not understand how his policies are playing a role in this, and how his spending is playing a role in this. How could he sit there and say that? And he's been saying this thing about they're reducing the debt by $350 billion or whatever. He's leaving out something very important, and his own people have fact-checked this. PolitiFact, Politico, one of those two. Those are leftist fact-checkers. They very rarely fact-check anything on the left. Anything. Even they look like, yeah, that's not true. While he's doing that, next year's budget requires him to borrow even more, which more than offsets the supposed paying down that he said he's doing. It's just not true.
With the Federal Reserve rapidly raising interest rates, what can you do to prevent a recession?
Continue to grow the economy. And we're growing the economy. It's growing in a way that it hasn't in years and years.
How so?
Continue to grow the economy and to continue to give hard-working people a break in terms of we pay the highest drug prices in the world of any industrialized nation. By the way, we've also reduced the debt. We reduced the deficit by $350 billion my first year. This year, it's going to be over $1.5 trillion reduce the debt. So to continue to put people in a position to be able to make a decent living and grow.
So another question that he was asked that was interesting was, if China attacked Taiwan, would we send American troops there to fight?
What should Chinese President Xi know about your commitment to Taiwan?
We agree with what we signed on to a long time ago, and that there's a one China policy, that Taiwan makes their own judgments about their independence. We are not moving, we're not encouraging their being independent. That's their decision.
But would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
Officially, the U.S. will not say whether American forces would defend Taiwan, but the commander-in-chief had a view of his own.
So unlike Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women, would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion?
Yes.
Really? That's interesting. Now, I knew we would help Taiwan, similar in the way that we're helping Ukraine, but we would go to war? That's new. Never heard that one before. And then it just so happens the next day, the White House said, no, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that. Well, the president said we would. The president of the United States, the chief executive of this country, said we would go to war. And it was very specific. We would send men and women into war to fight China. And he said yes. Confidently. Who overruled the president of the United States' decision? Because he said yes and somebody else decided to say no. And I want to know who has the power to do that. Who has the power to tell the president, yeah, we're not doing that? I just want the name. I just want the name.
After our interview, a White House official told us U.S. policy has not changed.
And like I said, I'm not going to go through the entire interview. It's just interesting that the border didn't come up. He did say that he's maybe changing his mind on running. He's more elusive on the answer to that. It was funny when when his cognitive abilities were brought up. He gave a very strange answer.
How would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't, look, I have trouble even saying to myself, my own head, the number of years. I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than fly. I mean, it's just not, I haven't observed anything in terms of, there's not things I don't do now that I did before, whether it's physical or mental or anything else.
Not surprisingly incoherent, made no sense when he asked about his focus and stuff like that. Very, very weird response.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end of such a momentous event, the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be saved, for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden.
And it was interesting when he was asked about his approval ratings and why they suck. His answer was very telling. He blamed it on the pandemic, but not how the pandemic was handled. And again, he's not aware of what's going on and how things are being handled. He said that he wasn't aware about President Trump's home being raided until after the fact. He said he's not being briefed now on it, which I don't think is possible.
Have you been briefed, sir, on the top secret documents that were found at Mar-a-Lago?
No.
No one has come to you to warn you that important national security secrets were revealed by the storage of those documents at the former president's home?
I have not personally spoken to anyone in that regard. I'm sure my administration is aware of all of that, and so is the National Security Council, but I have not.
Were you notified of the FBI's execution of a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago?
No, not ahead of time.
Well, my administration they know what's going on, but no, they're not briefing me. You're the president! But no, yeah, he's like, yeah, my people are kind of doing my people's things, and I'm just kind of there. I'm just there. But something scary happened. The weirdo from California, Gavin Newsom, who's failed up his entire life, he called for Joe Biden to charge Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida of kidnapping because of how they're handling the illegal immigrants and how they're shipping them off to Martha's Vineyard, New York, Illinois, and Chicago. the suggestion was funny. But what wasn't funny is that now they're actually looking into it. They're looking to criminally charge another political foe in Ron DeSantis for doing what the Democrats have always done, which is they usually ship illegals to red states. He's doing it to blue states, and he's sending these illegals to places they want to go, and he's sending the illegals to places that say they want the illegals there. Criminal charges. That's interesting. Because they say they want these people, and they talk about how humane they are and how great they are and how virtuous they are until they get them. Then all of a sudden, they're comparing the people sending them to Nazis, of course, Hitler, human traffickers and kidnappers. That doesn't make any sense to me. Do you love these illegal immigrants or do you not? What is this? What are we doing here? I don't see how those two things line up. And if they bring charges against DeSantis, oh my gosh. Now they will have done it to Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, the two front runners for president, if not the entire ticket that will be running in 2024. There's a very good chance it could be Trump DeSantis for president and VP on the same ticket. And they're going to go after both of them? Yeah, that's not tyranny. That's not utilizing the federal government to go after political foes. That's not American. So if they do this, just know we are going to see division like never, ever before in this country. You think it was bad under Trump? If they go after DeSantis now also, see, it's easy to say, oh, well, you know, Trump, this, that, and the other, because they smeared him for so long, people believe he's this criminal mastermind who somehow outsmarted all of them. But he's also dumb at the same time. But he's also a tyrant. But he's also a buffoon with no control over himself. So it's weird how all of those things put together don't make any sense, but whatever. But now when you're talking about a sitting governor who's actually done really well and who is popular within his own state, who's about to win his midterm by a landslide, now even the left is going to say, oh, all right, what are we doing here? Just because we don't like this guy does not give us the right to go after them criminally and use the FBI and Department of Justice to do it. This is getting out of hand. I predict right now, if they did that, there would be an impeachment of the President of the United States. Whether he knows or doesn't know what's going on, he's supposed to know. He's the president. So mark my words on this. If they try to criminally charge Ron DeSantis, President Biden will be removed from office. And even the left won't be able to stop it. Because the time that it would take to do that would be just after the midterms. And the storm that would happen as a result would almost be a mandate. Get these people out of here. We can't have this. This country is out of control. The government is out of control. The fact that it's even brought up and leaked, in my opinion, it was a feeler. They just want to see how people react to it. But that they're even considering it is really bad. Really bad. We have two buffoons in office right now. One who's just saying, watch me, watch me. And the other one who keeps just repeating community, 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 community.
We invested an additional $12 billion into community banks, because we know community banks are in the community and understand the needs and desires of that community, as well as the talent and capacity of community.
I laugh about Kamala almost every video because of how inept she is. But she did it again. And I told you, every time she's asked a question, she just repeats a word over and over and over. It's really funny. She just did it again. And it's great. It's hilarious. But back to Biden. I don't see him making it through his term regardless. He's definitely not running again. And at least he softened his stance on that.
I take it the decision has not been made in your own head.
Look, my intention, as I said to begin with, is that I would run again. But it's just an intention. But is it a firm decision that I run again? That remains to be seen.
And he did that ridiculous line again about assault weapons bans and deer and Kevlar vests. So stupid.
I'm not going to rest till we get assault weapons banned, which I did once before when I was a senator.
Assault weapons banned.
Assault weapons banned. There's no rationale. Deer aren't running through the woods wearing Kevlar vests.
He's quintupling down on that stance about taking away gun rights. And I don't see how that's going to work ahead of these midterms. I just don't. Especially as crime is at an all-time high. It just doesn't make sense. We're going to take away the gun. We're going to add rules to the people who are protecting themselves while letting all the criminals out and not prosecuting criminals. It doesn't make sense. It's so backwards. We'll see how that goes for them. Deer aren't running around in Kevlar vests. No rationale for people disagreeing with me on the topic of guns.